I take it Mr. Fremonet's condition has stabilized?
Of course. I would have left the infirmary.
I've been expecting those two, but might I inquire as to the purpose of your visit, Miss Seedwing?
I wanted to check up on Miss Clarion. How are you feeling?
Mostly fine, I think.
If you don't mind, I'd like to perform another quick physical exam. It'll just take a...
All right. Thank you.
Well, want to explain yourself, Wriothesley?
Of course, but I'm not partial to the word choice of explain. How about enlighten? Where should I begin? How about you start by asking me any questions you have? You can start with whichever one you'd like to...
And Paimon will begin. Did you know about Lenny's goals from the very beginning?
No. I just knew they were Fatui operatives sent to the fortress by the knave. As for their specific goals, I only figured those out as you made progress on your...
You managed to monitor and stay ahead of them even though you didn't know what they were trying to do?
They came here with ulterior motives. I'm quite adept at discerning what that kind of behavior signals. Initially, I thought their goal was just to investigate a child's disappearance. Lenny suggested that I had deliberately let him escape, but in truth, I didn't really do anything special to help or hinder him while he was here. Everything he did. Of course, it's inevitable that the knave would make a big deal out of her fellow harbinger's unexplained disappearance. I'm also quite curious about where that harbinger went, so I figured I might as well let the Fatui do their own investigative work. All I care about is the answer.
So you were hoping Lenny's group would just do your work?
You make it sound like that's a bad thing. Unfortunately, things didn't go as planned. I assume that Fremonet has told you already. The Forbidden Zone has always been Lenny's target, and you got roped into that investigation after running into him. I began to intervene out of concern for your safety, and also to prevent the fortress from becoming entangled in more irksome matters.
Are the rumors true? That you're also a former criminal?
Now, why would you put it like that? Isn't staying here all day and serving as the manager of the fortress a kind of sentence unto itself? Another form of prison? I just happen to have some support from the rest of the...
Oh, right. Paimon wanted to ask, who invited...
Me, of course. I paid her good aura to come down to the fortress for some field. As a champion duelist, Miss Clarion could be considered to be an independent party. I needed to find an exceptionally capable person to help me get through the battle.
And saving Fremonet was part of that?
You can think of it like that. Credit where credit is due, that boy is quite adept at diving. Conditions not been as hostile as they were, he probably would have found the missing harbor already. That's not something you should be asking after. Nevertheless, only asked you to investigate child's whereabouts. All I need to prove to you is that the Forbidden Zone had nothing to do with the Harbinger's disappearance.
We've already discovered that there's something wrong with the infirmary, and we've answered a bunch of questions that you threw at us. Isn't it about time?
You make a compelling case. You really...
Paimon really wants to know.
Even if the truth may not be pleasant. Follow me.
There's a hidden door here? Oh, a basement behind it. Huh. You're pretty good at hiding stuff, Wriothesley.
It's just what kind of... And on the central plate. There are 3 such isolation gates in total. Generally speaking, I'm the only one who's allowed to go inside, hence the name Forbidden Zone. Am I correct to assume you're going to run on back and tell your little Fatui friends everything?
Well, Paimon wasn't thinking of keeping anything from them.
Well, I'd advise you wait until you've seen the whole truth.
There's a switch on the side.
Stand back.
Whoa! They all just went up one by one.
Go on, have a look. I've been interested in what lies beyond that gate ever since I assumed leadership of the Fortress of Merit. Of course, it would be unwise to recklessly open it, but it'd also be risky and negligent to simply... The readings on that dashboard have not budged since the day when I first laid eyes on this place. But over the past year, the needle has crept upwards from its original position, likely because some parameter it's been tracking has changed, if only infinite. Normally, I would have ignored it. I happened to have some free time when I noticed it, so I investigated. Any guesses what the reading could be tracking? Very reasonable guesses. I've considered both of those as well. Unfortunately, the temperature should vary with weather and climate changes, so for rarely shifts, the water pressure is more likely. We ran a few tests to increase the pressure from... Later on, a few more possibilities occurred to me, such as a potential connection with primordial sea. Over the past few days, the needle has moved again. With that and the symptoms I displayed after leaving the fortress, I can now confidently conclude...
Concentration of primordial seawater?
And that's precisely the problem. We're at the bottom of the sea, and now we're surrounded by toxic seawater. Yes.
But forget the two of us. Not even Novelette knows where the primordial sea could be. Much less where we could find a plug leak. Oh!
Seems like you've figured it out. I believe the primordial sea lies directly beneath its gate. For some reason, the primordial seawater levels have risen significantly, and it's now very close to us. The indicators are now red. Although the gate still stands, some primordial seawater has already leaked out and mixed into the sea around us. If this continues, soon we'll no longer be able to hold back the primordial sea at all. Yeah, you know what the legends say. If this place falls, then everyone in Fontaine will be turned into puddles in the span of a night.
That's just too weird. Why would the Fortress of Merit be built right above a sluice gate for the primordial sea?
Your expression tells me you think this might be part of a vast, complicated conspiracy. It's just that the secret of the Forbidden Zone had been long forgotten by the nation before I rediscovered my research. There's no single founder of the Fortress of Merit in the traditional sense. What we know about its history has been left out. When the previous Hydro Archon Egeria ruled the land, all convicted criminals from Fontaine were exiled. The people drove the criminals away like a wolf pack chasing away the banished. The criminals received no sympathy of any kind from the people. They were exiled to the desolate seaside, where they experienced only pain, struggle, and some of them began to repent and prayed to the Hydro Archon, asking if there was still anything they could do. The Hydro Archon took pity on them and said, "You make..." And so, leaning on the power of the Hydro Archon, they gathered underneath the sea and began to build a fortress. They became a community down there in the deeps, and over the years, as the number of exiles increased, more and more people joined the community. When the first group group of exiles died, they left the yet unfinished. The Hydro Archon continued to lend her support, allowing the fortress and continue to grow ever larger. Before long, this dark underwater fortress became, and with that, the people here stopped referring to the fortress as a prison. They saw themselves as repenting sinners. But as time went on, people also realized that the fortress was a lonely place. Once they had gotten used to life here, they could no longer feel comfortable. Once they had finished serving their sentences, some people left and some others chose to stay. They'd find some idle position and let their withered soul. After many, many centuries, few people still remember the reason for the fortress. Now and again, researchers managed to break one law or another and live out their days in the fortress. I learned all this from an elderly historian.
But now you know every part of that history is true.
Indeed. It's just as the prophecy says. If this gate fails, then, to be frank, not really. But sadly, that hasn't stopped. Prophecies are troublesome things. Just hearing one will create the first wave of panic. Seeing signs of it will bring about the second, and actually witnessing it in real time, let's go somewhere else. I don't want to... Need to panic, you two. I've already...
What?
I'm skeptical as well. Are you sure they are
themselves, don't they? These two may already know more than you could ever imagine.
then, if your grace insists?
Harmless enough, so I'll trust them for now.
How about reintroductions? This is Jurier, one of the highest-ranked researchers from the Fontaine Research Institute. He used to work under Edwin. I trust you've heard of Edwin. Saves me a bit of time. Edwin's main areas of research were archaeum and gravimeters. As his assistant, Jurier is quite familiar with them as well.
You want to blow up the fortress of
What a lovely idea. I'm already imagining it in my head.
Gotta admit, I'm tempted as well.
Guys, focus! Focus!
That taskmaster over there is Miss Levine, and is also one of my technical consultants.
Ooh, are they together?
See, everyone keeps asking this question. Are you too sure you're not a couple and just using your work as a convenient cover?
Your Grace, I am...
If I dated her, I'd officially be mad.
Forget I said anything then. Follow me.
Whoa, there's another door that goes right up.
Your constant amazement makes me think the fortress can do anything.
But Paimon really thinks everything's super cool.
Let's spice it up a bit. And he